opinion, there are now under 5 weeks of the Premier League season to go for Newcastle United. So we have asked a number of regular, irregular mag contributors about the state of Newcastle United. What hasn't happened this season, and maybe more importantly, what is likely to happen moving forward. Next up answering questions is Matthew Norton. How would you sum up how you feel as a Newcastle fan at this moment in time? Like Bill Murray in Groundhog Day, we seem to be pretty much in the same situation as we were at this point last season. There's not all-out doom and gloom, as we're pretty much safe, and there's a slight tinge of hope for the future, but this is all driven by the support of the fans and the hugely positive influence of Rafa and the assumption, hope that he'll stay. Whilst there's no expectation of breaking into the top 4, the top 7 or 8 and being competitive on a weekly basis always seems achievable in principle. However, when you step back and look at the way things are going, it's hard to see much changing for next season, as we bumble along into 14th and the 4th round of the Cup. As it stands now, do you think Mike Ashley will still own Newcastle United when next season kicks off? Unfortunately, I can't see this changing, unless someone makes Ashley an offer he can't refuse. As much as he makes noises of wanting to sell, at the end of the day he's a businessman, and a thick-skinned one at that. The truth is that there will always be money coming into the club, and the marketing impact for Sports Direct globally is massive to him. So, as long as it's not losing him money, then there's no real incentive for him to leave. Rafa Benitez will sign a new contract. A couple of months ago I was 50-50 on this, but if the reports in the local press are to believe, they seem to be gearing up for Rafa being there next season. However, as sad as it is to say, I wouldn't blame him if they won't commit to a bit of short and long-term ambition and he decides he's had enough. Salomon Rondon will be bought by Newcastle? I can't see them spending the actual cash to get him in that they are looking for, given his age, although he's only a year older than Hazard and they are talking about him being worth £100 million, but if there were players to swap the other way, then maybe that would happen. The 11 Newcastle players you would most like to see still at the club next season, including players currently on loan, list them in order of importance. Rondon, Dubravka, Almiron, Lejeune, Perez, Lascelles, Longstaff, Dummett, Schär, Woodman, Ritchie. Which 3 positions, in order, do you think need improved via the transfer market? Central midfield, although we've got quantity there and there's some great players there, like Longstaff, Shelvey etc., but a top-class, first name on the team sheet, central midfielder would really bring everything together. Centre forward, even if Rondon stays, we don't really have backup or a different option to anywhere near the right level, even with Gale back. Full wing box, either side. As with midfield, there are decent players that can do a job, but if we want to play the 3-4-3, then we need complete wing backs that can do the offensive and the defensive and provide the attacking threat. Do you think Newcastle are still in danger of relegation? Nope, I don't think we've been in real danger of relegation for a few weeks, since we beat Burnley. With the players, resources available to him, which position in the table should Rafa Benitez have been fairly expected to achieve? I often think that it's a little unfair to call the squad a championship squad, and is sometimes used as an excuse. However, when you then compare the quality in key positions with teams such as Watford, Wolves, Bournemouth, Leicester, Everton etc., even Fulham or Burnley, then you realize what a task it is being competitive in this league. With this in mind, anything above 12th is punching above our weight and 14th is about par. Whilst we would all like to be challenging for Europe etc., and the players work so hard and are tactically drilled within an inch of their lives, when we are celebrating home wins against Burnley and Everton, this monumental event that shows that everyone knows what our current true level is. If Newcastle stay up, will it be due more to the failings of others or Newcastle having deserved it? A bit of both. United have worked hard for the points they have and deserve to stay up, but the approach and displays of the 3 teams going down have been woeful. Is racism a major problem for English football these days? I think one occurrence of racism is one too many, and a major problem. I think it's fair to say that because of media reporting we all know every incident that's happened in detail as soon as it occurs, which makes it feel like it's a constant thing in every stadium, which I don't believe is the case. Like I say, any incident is one too many. After 12 years under Mike Ashley of never getting past the fourth round of the FA Cup, and seeing Watford, Brighton and Wolves in the SEM finals this season, are Newcastle fans now too accepting of this situation? I'm not sure it's accepting, and maybe more inertia. However, when you see the teams that are getting to the quarter, semis, finals over the past few years, it does stick in the throat. Is Rafa Benitez totally innocent when it comes to the ongoing failing to compete in the cups? I don't think so, no. I love Rafa, and I'm pretty sure his experience of management and the decisions involved far outweighs mine at under 10 level, but it always feels a bit like the towel's been thrown in before we've even started, and there's a little more scope to go for it than he's letting on. Robbie Earle recently said that it should be a Big Seven in the Premier League, with Newcastle part of the seven. Discuss. I think in terms of history, pedigree, fan base, etc. Then there's a couple of clubs that should be pushing the top six, and they are Newcastle and Everton, so I would say a Big Eight. I think it's fair to say that before the major boom in the Premier League and Champions League 15 or so years ago, Newcastle were on a par with teams like Tottenham, Man City and Chelsea, but have been left behind both commercially and in a football sense. Do you see any lone players, Gale, Aarons, Lazar, Savitt, Murphy, Colback, having a part to play at Newcastle United next season? I hope that there's a place for Gale as backup, and for Murphy and Aarons to develop in and around the first team squad, as they are both technical players with a lot of potential, although if there's an opportunity to cash in and use the money to improve the first team, then that would also be a positive move. I can't see any way back in for Lazar, Savitt and Colback though. However, that is all under the assumption that Benitez is manager next season. If a weaker manager is in place next season, then I can see the decent players being sold off and Jack Colback slotting straight back in.